Hello teachers, I'm Jeanette Gomez, and scientists have spent decades studying how children learn to read, and they have established that 50 to 60% of students will learn how to read regardless of literacy instruction that is happening inside the classroom. But that leaves us with a fully 40 to 50% of students that are less fortunate, and for them explicit instruction in phonics is necessary if they're ever able to become capable readers. And that's especially true for three categories of students. The first category is English language learners. And the second one are struggling readers, whether they're dyslexic or have another reading disability. And in the third category is students who lack parental guidance and parental support in literacy at home. The scientific-based reading research, such as the National Reading Panel, has ID phonics as one of the big 5 reading components that every child must master to become a good reader. So that leads us to what I consider the 5 foundational phonics that you need to know, skills that you need to know to be able to teach phonics adequately in the classroom. So we're going to start with our first lesson today, and that lesson is on location. And the reason that's important is because depending on where that letter is located in a word determines the sound it's going to make. So location of a letter within a word determines the sound that it's going to make. Let's look at an example of that. Let's take the letter Y, for example. We have Y in this word. It's in the initial position, meaning it's the first letter in the word. We have a Y here. It's in the medial position, meaning that it's in the middle between initial and final. It makes a different sound. And let's look at this final Y here, meaning it's in the last position. It makes a different sound. Let's look at that more closely. When Y is in the initial position, it makes the Y sound, as in yarn. When Y is in the medial position, it makes the I sound, as in gym. When Y is in the final position in this word, it makes the I sound, as in sky. So one letter Y makes 3 different sounds based upon its location. Location in initial, location in medial, and location in final. So what I'm going to show you today is show you how to teach, using the discovery method, the following concept of location using the words initial, medial, and final. Today I'm going to show you how to teach using the discovery concept of how to teach location using the words initial, medial, and final. Okay, today we're going to review the letters in the English alphabet. Let's say our letters as we review them. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. What is the initial or the first letter of the English alphabet? Correct, it is A. What is the final letter or the last letter of the English alphabet? Yes, it is Z. All the other letters between initial and final are called medial. These letters, B all the way to Y, are called medial. That means they're between initial and final. Initial means first, final means last, medial means anything between initial and final. Now, for several days in a row, I will use the alphabet, saying each letter in the alphabet with the students helping me. And I will ask them every day for a few days in a row, what is the initial letter of the English alphabet. First few times I might want to ask, what is the initial or the first letter of the English alphabet? And I will ask, what is the final or the last letter? What is the medial? And they'll tell me anywhere between initial and final. Then eventually I'm going to get rid of first and last and only refer to initial and final and medial, using the English alphabet as an example, because I want them to become familiar with that terminology, initial, medial, and final. Also, to reinforce that, when we do the discovery process to learn the sounds of new letters, I'm going to have them to use a mirror. And I'm going to have them looking at their mouth in the mirror to make sure they're pronouncing the word correctly, making sure that their lips are where they're supposed to be, the tongue is where it's supposed to be, and I'm having them visually look and physically make the sound so they make it correctly, number one, and so they can also realize what is the sound I'm hearing. I'm going to be isolating sounds. When I say, for example, we're going to learn a new letter and its sound today. All of these words we're going to say will have the same sound in the initial position. And so they'll be able to look and realize they need to focus in at the first part of the word. Or if we're learning a new sound in the medial part of the word, I will tell the students, we're going to say some words. Repeat them after me as you look at your mouth in the mirror, and listen for the sound in the medial position. That way they'll know to focus in on the middle of the word. This is a very important concept for students to understand, because the sound of a letter can change when it's in the initial position. It can change to a different sound when it's in the medial position, and it can change to a different sound when it's in the final position. So this is a very important concept for students to be able to know. They need to know what initial and medial and final mean.